Hi, my name is Tim O'Brien, and in this video, I'm going to share with you what I think are the three most important things we want to keep in mind as we engage in our social media strategy. For my money, there are three keys to promoting a social media strategy. You got to get started, you got to stay consistent, and you got to produce valuable content. I want to spend a few minutes on each of them. Look, I'm a perfect example of an old dog being taught new tricks. I was never against social media. I just didn't really think it was necessary for my business. I thought to myself, okay, I'm at this stage in my career, I'm just going to keep doing it the old-fashioned way, the shoe leather way, knocking on doors, visiting people, going to meetings. The problem was I saw people who didn't have as much good content as I had blowing me away. And the reason was because they were much more efficient at getting their message out. Well, I'm happy to tell you that I'm never the kind of person that thinks I know everything. I came to the game kind of late, but I definitely come to the game. And I'm also going to tell you that if a guy like me, who's not super technologically savvy, can develop a robust social media strategy and promote it, you can too. Now look, you got to just get started. And I'll give you a good example. I have a client of mine, super guy, is in the commercial real estate space, and he represents tenants. His name is Gary Adams. He represents tenants that want to expand their virtual platform to the brick and mortar platform. And he watches me and other people do our social media posts on a daily basis. And it's amazing, right? Because he's like, Tim, it's so amazing what you're doing. And the truth of the matter is, no, it's not. It just looks like it's so much more than he's doing because he's doing nothing. But he's really passionate about it. He wants to start doing it. So we got into a conversation, and I finally just said to him, Gary, you got to just get started. Just get started. Early on in my career of developing my social media platform, I had this guy who I was working with and coaching me. And he had me in my head like everything had to be perfect. And it was ridiculous because I realized as long as I'm not doing anything super negative that could permanently injure my brand, the worst that could happen is it be neutral and nobody pays attention to it. I can only get better. So I realized, just get going. So I said, Gary, just get going. Go. Don't worry about perfection. Just get going. I was at the Traffic and Conversion Summit last week, which is the premier conference on digital marketing. It was down in San Diego. And Ryan Dice, who was the founder of the conference, was on stage. And he said, look, let me tell you right now. He said, ugly beats pretty every time. That didn't mean that every ugly video beats every beautifully produced video. But what he was saying was, hey man, don't get caught up in making everything perfect because you can end up staying, stuck in the garage and not taking things out of the garage and showcasing them to your target audience. So just get going. So Gary did his first video, right? And I saw it and he cut off half of his face. And I have to tell you something, I smiled because it was me several months ago. And in a few short months, I perfected the process of good enough. That's it. I perfected the process of good enough. And so I said, Gary, I need you to make an adjustment. Make sure you're in the middle of the frame. Get a selfie stick so you can keep your hands steady. He's like, okay, I got it. The very next video he produced was awesome. Awesome. Now I see him producing videos on, playing golf. He's in commercial real estate, but he's showing videos of what he does in his off hours because he's really into it. And what I love about it is he just got started. Number two, you got to be consistent. If you're going to do fits and starts, don't waste your time because you'll get lost in the sea of content. You will. What you have to do is you have to be extraordinarily consistent so your stuff shows up all the time. It doesn't mean everybody who's following you will see your stuff all of the time. But if you do it all of the time, you have a much higher likelihood of being seen by more people who are episodically tuning into their social media profiles, okay? So what you want to do is you want to be extraordinarily consistent. And number three, video is best, but the written word is fine too. So what I do, my strategy is real super simple. I like to produce videos every day if I can on my social media platforms, right? And they are thepersontosee.com, right? So on Instagram, it's the person to see. On Facebook, it's the person to see. On my YouTube channel, it's the person to see TV. On Twitter, somebody got me and they got the person to see, so it's just person to see on Twitter. And on LinkedIn, it's the person to see. So on all of those platforms, I try to post video as much as I can. But the default for me is I'll produce the written word, and here's what I do. I produce a quote or two every day with a little narrative illustrating a point that I'm trying to make with the quote. So every day I'm putting content up on social media. And because I'm in the game to play, I'm so much further ahead than the people that are fits and starts. Again, so let me wrap it up for you. 3 things I need you to do for me. First, get started. Don't worry about perfection. Good is good enough. Number 2, I need you to be extraordinarily consistent. I need you to be as consistent with social media posting as you've been with anything in your life. And number 3, video is great, but printed word is good enough as well. Put those 3 things together and you'll be well on your way.